The birthplace of the Bohemian Revolution. From Cowork 591 Studios, this is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network with producer Blake Tempus and co-host Dale Rueber. I am Jim Gillespie, and this is the Jesup News for April 22nd, 2024. Follow and rate as well as tell a friend. Get us better numbers. Get our numbers up. I'm not asking for money here. I'm asking for better numbers. Come on.
If you got an ear, all you need is one. That's all. Yeah. One-eared people are welcome.
Blake, thanks for getting these relics out today on the air. I appreciate it. Today, Dale has a number of things for you. We talk about the results of the Boston Marathon. We talk about the WNBA draft and how to fight like a woman, poem called Wannabe. We look at the men's Olympic basketball team. It was released this week.
Oh, sure, I saw that. So, the Halliburton kid is on there.
Yes, he is.
State, yeah.
Dale has the Jesup News for you. We talk about Farmers Day, Littleton Free Watermelon Day. We have a weekly update of events going on inside the Steve Brown Arts Center. And we talk about making sure that you support local artists. The Steve Brown Arts Center is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that has a vision for artists, young and old alike, to have the opportunity to better themselves while helping to build the skills of those around them. The long-range vision is to house a rural artist residency program for professional and emerging artists in all areas of the arts and humanities. Artists will be offered accommodations and studio space in exchange for a contribution of labor and maintenance of the buildings and grounds. I want to do a shout out to one of our listeners out in New York City.
New York City?
Yeah, they replied back a number of things concerning things that you and I both talked about.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to share those.
They're not after us, are they?
No. I try to get them on the air, and they don't want to be on the air.
Okay. I just don't want them hunting us down if we said something to irritate those New Yorkers. So I may have to leave town. So.
Anyhow, our friend from New York City, she corrects me by saying, I talked about Boji the dog in New York. She responded, it's not in New York. Boji is in Turkey.
Oh.
The country of Turkey.
Okay.
And then she also responded that there can be candidates, president and vice president from the same state.
Oh, there can.
There can be.
Okay.
Thank you for listening, and feel free if I wander off the tracks to put me back on the track.
And I just say things incorrectly every now and then just to see if anybody's listening, see if they comment on that. So.
And I knew that.
Oh, okay.
I knew that.
Are you sure they don't have to be? They can be from. That's what she says. Okay.
There is an article here.
Okay.
I'll show you that article.
I will look at it then. Thank you.
All right.
Well, I always appreciate being, because I know I do a lot of stuff from memory. And my memories aren't always the same as everybody else's, even if they were there. I understand that. So I'm always glad to find out what's really.
But let's start, Dale. O.J. Simpson died.
Yeah, I saw that
this week.
One guy said that'd be a heck of an obituary to write. So
as evil as he was taken. And Dale, you got to figure his death did our lives almost like the Kennedy assassination, almost like the space shuttle crashing. Were you still teaching when they announced the verdict?
Oh, yeah.
Did you watch the verdict in your classroom?
No, we didn't do that, no. Too young.
I can remember coming out of lunch and rolling the TV in my room, and my 6th-hour class and I sat and watched the verdict.
Okay.
Yep. You have to, and he was found innocent. I heard a comedian today say, "Well, who's going to search for the killer now?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you ever hear Chris Rock's little thing about O.J.? It's several years old, but he talked about O.J. killed 2 white people. And he always repeats it, he killed 2 white people and he got away with it, So it's just a funny little bit that he has over something that was really very tragic. There's humor in everything.
Yeah,
and humor helps us get through some hard times.
It does. A little bit of a timeline. O.J. was born in 1947. He led all college running backs in rushing in his first season at the University of Southern California in 1967. In 1968, he won the Heisman Trophy, college football's top honor. I forgot he was a Heisman Trophy winner.
No, I remember that.
He was picked first in the pro draft in 1969. In 1973, he became the first NFL football player, and this is what I remember him for, to rush for over 2,000 yards in a season. That was back during the 14-game season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was an incredible feat.
Yep.
He retired in 1979, having rushed for over 11,000 yards. He went into the Football Hall of Fame in 1985. 1988, he was on TV shows. He was on the movie Naked Gun, probably in his best role. Mm-hmm. Found his way, after football, he found his way onto television and into movies.
Yeah.
Much like James Brown.
But with O.J. doing those Hertz commercials, and he represented the company through those commercials, and how that was the first of the mighty wave of athletes doing that sort of thing. It continues down like to Caitlin Clark and athletes like that. That he was, like Mickey Mantle would talk about a razor blade or something like Gillette or whatever, but he wasn't the face of Gillette razors, and but he did a commercial for him. But O.J. was the guy for Hertz, and a lot of athletes now, their face is the company. That's who you think about when you see their face.
Yeah, that's right. In 1992, Nicole Brown Simpson filed for divorce after 7 years of marriage. In 1994, Nicole Brown and a friend, Ronald Goldman, are stabbed to death outside of her Los Angeles home. That was in June of 94. O.J. took a flight that evening to Chicago and was called back that morning. He was in a celebrity golf tournament in Chicago on the 13th. On June 17th, he was ordered to surrender, and Simpson fled instead into a white Ford Bronco, leading police on a nationally televised slow-speed chase across California freeways.
I do remember during a break being called into the lounges wherever they had a TV to watch after the Bronco. I did see that part of that. So
during the murder trial, a prosecutor asked him to put on a pair of gloves in June of 95, believed to be worn by the killer. They appeared too small, and defense attorney Johnny Cochran tells jurors, "If it doesn't fit, you must acquit." A very famous line. On October 3rd, 1995, Simpson is acquitted. A very unique time in the history of our country.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it was an African American man killing 2 white. And
well, just shortly, a few years before that, they had the trial where several white police officers were beating a black man in the street, and they had it all videotaped and everything, but the officers got off not guilty. And so then when they had a black guy on trial for killing white people, then it was, payback's not the right word, but it's just kind of, the people were very upset that those white officers had gotten off beating that man. And so, why can't I think of, you remember his name? I can't think of his name. No, it became very famous. But so yeah, it was that kind of time,
right,
where
you were talking about getting the difference. The difference was money.
Mm-hmm.
O.J. had the millions of dollars to buy his way out of it.
Well, yeah, just like other defendants we might name.
Yes.
Lots of money. We don't know for sure anymore. But
yeah. They're still looking.
Yeah. Who is it? Tom Cruise in A Few Good Men. He says the cases are one. It's about the trials. About the lawyers. It's not about who's guilty. It's about the lawyers, and the people who have the best lawyers are going to win. And so, a sad commentary, I guess. But,
it is. Anyhow, going on. February 1997, the jury hearing a civil suit finds Simpson liable for the deaths and orders him to pay the victims' families $33.5 million. A federal bankruptcy in July 2007, a federal bankruptcy judge awards the Goldman family the rights to a book written as a first-person account in which Simpson discusses how he could have committed the murder. The family renames the book "If I Did It: The Confessions of a Killer." September 2007. O.J. confronts two sports memorabilia dealers in a Las Vegas hotel room, angrily telling them that most of what they're planning is to sell is rightfully his.
Well, but he lost it in the bankruptcy, because they took all his stuff pretty much. So he was broke, and he didn't like that.
He was found guilty in October 2008, about a year later, along with co-defendant Clarence C.J. Stewart of kidnapping, armed robbery, assault with a deadly weapon, burglary. Wow.
That's a tough one sometimes.
It is. And conspiracy. 4 other accomplices took plea deals and received probation. I didn't realize 6 people went into the room that day.
Yeah, and won't you wonder what they were thinking?
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But they threw the book at him because they got a second bite at him.
They did.
And so they charged him with everything they could think of. And I don't think there's any kind of plea deals at all, were there?
No, he was sentenced to 9 to 33 years and sent to Lovelock Correctional Center in northern Nevada. That was in December 2008.
Okay.
Then in October 2010, he's denied an appeal by the Supreme Court of Nevada. Stewart is granted a new trial, takes a plea deal, and is released. So O.J. ends up being hung out of the 6. O.J. takes the big hit.
Yeah.
July 2013, he asked the Nevada Parole Board for leniency, saying he's tried to be a model prisoner. He wins parole on some convictions, but is left with at least 4 more years to serve. July 2017 is unanimously granted parole by a board that cites the low risk that he might commit another crime. And his community support and release plan that includes moving to Florida where he has family. October 2017, he is released from Lovelock Correctional after serving 9 years. So he served 9 years for that breaking into that hotel room, which is a long time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like you say, they took his pound of skin. Pound of skin.
Pound of flesh.
Pound of flesh.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
That's Shakespeare. That's pretty good for you.
It's frightening, isn't it? January 2018 dodges an effort to force him to turn over cash for signing autographs to satisfy the $70 million civil judgment for the killing. March 2018, Fox invites viewers inside of Simpson's head by airing previously on-scene interview. Fox battled to get that on the air because people didn't want OJ to have money. June 2019, he says he's happy and healthy in Las Vegas. 25 years after the killing, life is fine, Simpson told the Associated Press, adding that he and his children don't need to go back and relive the worst days of our lives. April 2021, he settles his lawsuit claiming the Cosmopolitan's workers defamed him by telling a celebrity news site that he had been banned for being drunk and disrupt. December 2021, he was granted good behavior credits and discharged from parole. May 2023, he announced he had cancer, and this past February, he denied he was going into hospice, but then he died, what was it, this April, 2 months later.
Yeah.
So, O.J. never paid a lot of money to the Goldmans or to his wife's family.
They say they're already after it, though, and the IRS also.
Yeah.
They've all filed claims against his estate already. So
they have. If you O.J. had a $20,000 a month pension from the NFL that he lived on, and then he was also had a pension from the Screen Actors Guild.
Oh, I suppose, yeah.
And so he basically had about a $40,000 a month income, which he didn't have to pay to anybody from the civil But you're right. They're after him now. His children, who should see it, they lost their mother, and now they've lost their father. We'll never see that money.
No, I don't think so. And there was a thing where Simpson's lawyer, who's the executor handling the estate, has said that this was quoted, I'm not sure exactly, but it was quoted that he had said that he'll do everything in his power to make sure the Goldmans never see a dime.
Yeah.
So that must have been O.J.'s wishes, I would think, that he had conveyed to him. So we'll see, but it'll be a long, bloody battle.
It will.
And the lawyer will end up with a big chunk of it, if whatever's left there. So.
What do lawyers get in, or what is that when a bunch of people sue a company? What's that called?
Class action
suit. Lawyers get like 40% of it.
It's something like that, yeah.
It's a huge percent.
Yeah.
So basically the people get nothing.
Yeah. If you read John Grissom's books, he talks about those class action suits and how lawyers try to make lists of people that they can claim that they represent, because every name on that list is more money for them, and they end up with millions more than any individual will get. And right now, it's they have this Camp Lejeune water thing, and if you watch television, which I do, you'll see where there's law firm after law firm after law firm trying to get people to call and sign up so they can get a big chunk of that money that's supposed to go, to the Marines that drank the poison water. And yet you have to go through the law firms, apparently. I don't know if you can go around them or not. They don't say you can, so I've never looked it up. But if you read John Grissom, they're a bunch of skunks, a lot of them. And that's how they make their money, never going to court, never going to a trial, just collecting money for threatening, So
I am involved in a class action lawsuit against a health insurance company that I will not name for litigation purposes, and we have won over $1.2 billion. Our side has won, and we won 2 years ago.
Yeah,
we still haven't seen a penny of it.
Yeah, I had a friend who needed back surgery. He needed a new disc put in, and the doctors did the surgery and everything, and it worked. But then they found out that the disc came from I would say like a funeral home or something in New Jersey, where they were taking parts out of cadavers that came to them without any authorization, and the bones and things they took were not treated the way they're supposed to be for this and that. And so he was part of a huge class action lawsuit when all that came together. And I don't know the amount, but he indicated to me that he got quite a bit of money out of that. He would rather have a nice back, because he got a lot of pain and sorrow from that and other things. But he did end up with quite a nice settlement.
Right.
But I don't know.
This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. We want to thank some of our sponsors, the Reyes Concrete, the Littleton Lounge, LLC, Littleton Chatham Historical Society, and as always, Lace. Dale, you have a little bit of Jesup news there.
Well, I do, but I wanted to read you this letter first, though.
Okay.
Because you were talking about the Bohemian network that we're on.
Yes.
So, well, this was a letter, an actual letter, I'm sure, a Bohemian mother writing a letter to her son, okay? Dear son, just a few lines to let you know I'm still alive. I will write this letter slowly because I know you can't read fast. First, the big news. Your dad heard that most accidents happen close to home, so we moved. You won't know the house when you come home, as I can't send you the address because the last Bohemian family that lived here took the house numbers with them so they wouldn't have to change their address. About your father. He has a lovely new job where he has over 500 men. He is cutting grass in the cemetery. There is a washing machine in the house where we live now, but it ain't working too good. Last week I put in 14 shirts, pulled the chain, haven't seen the shirts since. It rained twice this week. 3 days the first time and 4 days the second time. The coat you wanted me to send you? Your Aunt Sue said it was too heavy to send in the mail with them big heavy buttons, so we cut them off and put them in the pocket. Your sister Mary had a baby this morning. I haven't found out whether it's a boy or a girl, so I can't tell you if you're an aunt or an uncle. Your Aunt Ann gave up on the birth control pill when Uncle John bought a condominium. Uncle Dick drowned last week in a vat of whiskey at the brewery. Some of the fellow workers dived in to save him, but he fought them off bravely. We cremated his body, and it took 3 days to put out the fire. On the other hand, your father hasn't drank since Christmas. I put a pint of castor oil in his beer, and it kept him going till New Year's. 3 of your friends went off the bridge in a pickup. One was driving, and the other 2 were in the back. The driver got out. He rolled down the window and swam to safety. The other 2 drowned. They couldn't get the tailgate down. I went to the doctor yesterday, and your father went with me. Doc put a small tube in my mouth and said not to open it for 10 minutes. Your father wanted to buy the tube. We got a bill from the funeral home, said if we didn't make this last payment on Grandma's funeral bill, up she comes. Love, Mother. Oh, P.S. I was going to send you $10, but it already sealed the envelope. All right. Is that something in Bohemians you know?
That's not the same Bohemian that we're talking about.
Okay, I know.
I understand.
I know.
That's good humor.
Okay. Okay, Jesup Citywide Cleanup Day, you might have seen these posters around. They're in windows in some of the businesses in town. On Saturday, May 11th from 8 o'clock till noon, and they do this every year. And you'll actually find Coley Mead down there wearing blue jeans and wearing work gloves. So it's worth it just for that sight alone. It's at the 10th Street City Shop. It's at the end of Young Street towards the east. And you have to take everything to that location. Cleanup Day is only for current City of Jesup residents. So those you listening out of town, this doesn't work for you. They take materials up until 12 noon, but not after that. And some things they have to charge a fee for because I imagine the landfill charges a fee to them. So if you have stoves, dryers, freezers, refrigerators, trash compactors, dehumidifiers, heat pumps, dishwashers, furnaces, hot water heaters, air conditioners with the Freon has to be removed, microwave ovens, humidifiers, batteries, and garbage disposals, they have to charge you a fee of $12 for each of those items. And televisions can go down, but they cost $5 to get rid of your television. Things they cannot accept are tires, paint thinner, insecticides or pesticides, oil solvents, hazardous materials, or any type of gas or diesel fuel, shingles, no perishable or consumable goods. And so, they will have a scrap metal dumpster on site. If you have scrap metal you need to get rid of. So that's coming up on May 11th, and we'll try to talk about that a couple more times before that happens. Okay, everybody with a Jesup address. Did you get this? Do you have a Jesup address?
I have an Independence address.
Okay, everybody with a Jesup address got this brochure about the Jesup Veterans Park, and we've had Fritz Keys on here talking about this, and you may have seen the sign down on the end of 6th Street on 6th and South Street, but they are ready now to take donations, and they have a form here where you can make a donation, or you can select a paver for a veteran if you want to honor someone. You can put pretty much anyone. They have a 4 by 8 inches, 8 inches by 8 inches, or 16 by 16. Anywhere from $100 to $200 to buy those pavers. And I talked to, here's a kind of a design of it. I don't know if you can see that or not very well on our camera. Can you zoom in? But it's kind of going to look like that. Though the colors will all be red, white, and blue. He said there's brown in there. They won't have that. But they will be at the south end of it. They'll be notching out a parking lot for about 10 cars. And it's going to be deep enough in that you can back out without backing onto South Street, which I thought was a wise move.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to Coley Mead, and the cost is over $200,000. The city has already thrown in $74,000, and the Lions Club has given $25,000, and they are attempting to raise more. And another individual has given $8,400, and so they still could use over $100,000, and that's why they're having the fund drive. It'll have you can buy benches. There'll be benches along there. 8 monuments. Those are the statues they have of the different servicemen in the different branches. And they are looking to get a piece of military equipment like a tank or a howitzer or something like that. And you have to get that from an arsenal in Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, okay.
And they're on a waiting list. And the bad part about it is when you come up and you can get something, it's your responsibility to go out to Detroit and get it back to where you want it, and then put it on a cement pad. And I've also learned from, in Owine, you may have seen there's a fighter jet in the park, and it's been there for, I think, 50 years. But every year, the city of Owine has to report to the Defense Department or someone in the government that it's still there and certify that the plane has not been moved or given to somebody, or I don't know if they think somebody's going to fly that thing off or whatever. But you have to report every year on this equipment because it still belongs to the government.
Right.
And so and I thought it was interesting, our good friends from Mickey D Pizza are going to be at Farmers Day, and they're going to give all of their proceeds to this Veterans Park. That was pretty neat.
Yeah.
I don't know, and this had nothing to do with it, but there was this piece of paper he showed me in front, come in today. It was the city's insurance bill, $127,000.
My.
And that's not just that's for everything in the city,
Right.
And I guess I didn't ask, it was 6 months or a year, but that's, so you can see why the city needs a lot of money, because, alive, that's almost as much as I pay in property tax right there. so they're working on it. It's working really well. And we were just talking. We'd like to get Fritz Keys back in here and talk to him, because I bet he's probably feeling pretty good right about now.
Right.
That's how much progress has been made. And so getting the land ready, that was a good move. So, okay. There was a nice article in the Bulletin Journal about Jack Miller, who's a Jesup kid. He's a senior in the high school. And I was really impressed because they said Miller is a generational athlete. And if you look at what he's accomplished, and what he was writing about is that Miller is a medalist, a golf medalist in the spring, but he also does the long jump. And he had the longest long jump in the state in the indoor season. And he's a state participant in the long jump. Well, now he's also running sprints, 100-meter dash and 200-meter dash, and winning those. And so this is something where he only does it when he doesn't have golf. And he's, all-state basketball, baseball, track, golf, just a real good kid. And he's going to Upper Iowa to play basketball. Mm-hmm. But it's just interesting how many records he has set up at Jesup in several different sports, and how he's getting a lot of notice. And it sounds like he should have a real good career at Upper Iowa. Brooks McCowan is the coach there, and they have those kids from
North Lynn.
Yeah, North Lynn that are there, the two brothers, and so they should have a really, really, really good team. Anyway, I just wanted to shout out Jack Miller, and both of us had his mother in school.
Yes.
And she was a fantastic athlete herself. So it's nice to see Jesup connection just keep on going. So it'd be nice if he had his family in Jesup, wouldn't it? And geez, just think how fast that kid could run. So.
What else do you have?
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to talk about in our schedule of events, we had talked about putting the planters down along Young Street in Jesup. And I see the scheduled date was sometime in May, but they're out there now.
They have the planters.
Yeah,
out.
The planters. There's no plants in them.
There's no plants in them. Yeah.
Little chill. Supposed to get down below freezing here pretty soon. But they do have those planters out, so they're working on
Painted them orange and blue.
I see that. Yeah. And so the plastic ones, they're on this end, and the wooden ones are still at the other end.
Right.
Did you see that? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, the ones they had last year.
And over by the library as well.
Okay, I haven't been over there today, but okay. I'm not too. I don't know if you remember the library right outside the library. Both they have the big globes.
Right.
For the lights at night. And I noticed the other day that they have rectangular lights there now. And so I went inside and I said, Becky, how long have the globes been gone? Oh, she said, since October. I said, oh, well, I just noticed that. But when they built the library, they had those globes in the plan. I remember people saying, those things won't last 2 months. Somebody will break them. Well, they lasted, 25 years or whatever,
right.
So before there was problems with them. And so the ones they have to replace them are a little sturdier, and they have some protection, but they look really nice. And so, but I'm just amazed how long it took me to notice that they weren't there anymore. That's all. Farmers Day is still coming up in June this year, 20, 21, 22. And people are working on that. And we have the carnival and the bands in the gazebo. Musical acts in the gazebo and bands down at the pavilion and the beer tent and all the good things, the parade. And so hope everybody will get out a couple weeks early and come to Farmers Day. I do want to tell you, it's not really necessarily Jesup, but Laces is one of our sponsors. And if you look in the April 13th Bulletin Journal, they have a little article. They have little free art houses, and probably most of you have seen the little free libraries where you can leave a book and take a book, or you just take a book if you need a book out of there, and then leave them if you need to, if you have others some other time. Well, they have one with art supplies, which I think is it's like a little free library. It has basic art supplies for the community to use, and you can use them and share them, and also you can replenish. And it's at the Independence Community School District Administration Building is where you'll find that. And so that might be something we could think about in the future somewhere in Jesup. And so, but I thought I had never heard of that, or maybe I should have, and I thought that was really a neat thing. So
Did you say there's one in Hazleton as well?
Not that
I believe there's one in Hazleton.
Is there? Okay,
as well.
for art supplies? Mm-hmm. Okay. I thought I'd also mention the event calendar for next week. Today is the Two Wavy Catering from 11 to 6. And then on Wednesday is Fat Roy's Mexican, 11 to 6. And then on Friday, the 26th, is Judy's Food Truck from 11 to 6. So starting late in the morning and all afternoon, if you need something to eat, it'll be there. And then if you're interested in burritos, they're coming the 29th on the Monday the 29th. So that's kind of the Jesup news that I have. The paving projects that they've been doing, the patching in the streets has been completed. And looks like they got the mowers out. Yep. Everybody's mowing. And I saw they had the street sweeper out one day, probably more than once, but I saw it. And things are kicking off in the city here.
Spring's coming.
Spring is here. Coming. So that's what I have, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. Some other sponsors include Joe and Judy Olson. I know Joe and Judy were very active in getting the little free art houses get established there in Independence. The Independence Bulletin Journal, Derek's Repair LLC. Keith Bickert is a kind sponsor. Jacobson Fabrication and Repair LLC is also a sponsor. Make sure to support the kind people that are kind to us. We talked about the Boston Marathon last weekend. Results are in.
Did I win?
There were no records. No records set.
Okay.
None of them went below what we talked about.
Okay.
But it is rather interesting, Dale. The incredible runners in the men's race. Sisay Lema from Ethiopia won in 2:06:17, 2 hours 6 minutes and 17 seconds. Also from Ethiopia's training partner Mohammed Isa was 2 hours 6 minutes and 58 seconds.
So the first guy was how many?
2 hours
17 seconds. And
17 seconds, and Isa was in 58.
Wow, that's what a minute.
Yeah, that's close.
Amazing.
Third place was from Kenya. The third, fourth, and fifth place were actually from Kenya.
Okay.
And they ran, all three of those guys ran 2:07 and 22, 40, and 47.
Have you ever read anything or studied why those African runners are so good at long distances?
In a lot of ways, talks about herdsmen, tribal herdsmen. Mm-hmm. They train. They do a lot of training in the areas where their ancestors grew up. A little bit of genetics there as well. You know, you look at size. A lot of the NFL linemen are from American Samoa down there. You know, you look at the body girth and their size. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of that has to do with it. In the women's race, 1, 2, and 3 were also, and they went.
Anybody stay at home in Kenya? So.
They went 2 hours and 22 minutes 37 seconds. Helen Obiri was the winner. Okay. Sharon Lokedi was second, 45 seconds, about 8 seconds slower, and Edna Kiplagat was third at 2 hours 23 minutes. And 21 seconds, and then fourth and fifth there were from Ethiopia.
Okay. Any Americans in the top 10?
Not in the top 10.
Okay.
In the men's race, there was the 7th place man, C.J. Albertson, was at 2:09. 14th place man was at 2:12:32.
Okay, so 2:12, and what was the winner?
2:06.
2:06, so not a lot of difference.
No.
Yeah. There's the last minute to the
about 15-second miles.
Each mile. Yeah.
So that's a lot of difference.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you think about 26 miles, if you got there 6 minutes before I did, I wouldn't be all that upset.
You're right.
So it's cold, but you know, like everything, those last minutes to catch up, those are the hard ones to get.
Yeah. In the women's race. The 12th place, the 15th place, 16th place, and 18th place runners were from the USA.
Okay.
But the majority of the racers were from Eastern Africa. That was traditional.
Yeah.
Or has become traditional.
Yeah, it really has.
So that was the Boston Marathon for 2024. The wheelchair winner won at 1 hour 30 minutes.
Okay.
And the woman wasn't that much farther off. That if you look at there's only a 16-minute difference in the men and women winners in the Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
So in that case, the women are closing the gap.
Well, I walked a half marathon in the Des Moines Marathon. You can walk and you can do a half marathon. And I did that with my daughter Joy. I think I was in my early 60s then.
Right.
And I thought we were doing pretty well. And then we came and there was a lady sitting on a bench and she was having problems. And so we went and helped her and tried to get her husband on the phone to come and get her and this sort of thing. So we kind of gave up on our time.
Yeah.
But we did every yard of it. But that's a lot. 13 miles is a long ways.
Oh, it is a long ways.
Yeah.
You're right. That's pretty neat. That's neat.
I still have my medal. So yeah.
Oh, cool. You have to bring that in. Take a picture of it.
Well, I'm sure, yes. I'm gonna.
Speaking of women closing the gap, the NBA or the WNBA draft was Monday night.
I watched it. So
Yeah, well, a lot of people did.
Yeah.
2 years ago, something like 230,000 people watched the WNBA draft. Last year, 350,000, and this year, 2,990,000 people watched WNBA draft. There was that big a change.
yeah, and they sold tickets for the first time.
They did.
To the arena and sold that out in 15 minutes? They said. So
They sold out. There were people standing outside watching as the players entered. Caitlin Clark came in her $17,000 outfit.
yeah, is that how much it cost?
Prada.
Wow.
Prada.
Buy it or rent it or
Well, that's
probably from Milroy's tuxedo. She got that.
That's the first time ever that Prada's ever had an outfit at the women's WNBA draft.
Yeah.
So times are changing.
Yeah, some of those dresses looked very, very expensive.
Oh, they were.
I shouldn't say they looked funny, but you used to see those basketball girls in their basketball uniform, and that's it. And to see them all dressed up like that was a little different.
It was. Caitlin Clark was also on Saturday Night Live this past Saturday night.
I thought that was funny. She's a little wooden part of it, but she did a nice job, and I thought they had a lot of fun with the whole thing. And so
she handled it well.
I thought so. I enjoyed that. They had a news conference with her today in India. I saw a little bit of what they showed on the news, and just very poised and very in control. They asked her about playing on the Olympic team, and she said, I have no control over that. If that happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I have no control over that.
Right.
And so I'm going to concentrate on playing ball. The one thing is they say, okay, when you get on the fever and you're going to do this and this and, what are you going to do? And I said, well, she hasn't made the team yet. You ought to at least say, well, if I make the team in the tryout, I will try to do this, but I think they all assume that she's going to make the team.
Her basketball contract is so small, it's around $76,000. That income qualify her in San Francisco for low-income housing. That's it's a large insult to women.
But she's not going to live off that money. She's playing the basketball allows her to get all the other money from endorsements.
Yep.
And so if she didn't play basketball, then she wouldn't get those. And so it's kind of she has to play basketball no matter what the salary to get that other money. And I'm sure the other girls are in the same situation. So
yes,
the other young women are in the same situation. So but it's not equitable. But until the WNBA bring in the money that the NBA brings in, they're not going to have that, So.
And there's a lot of people that claim, well, you look at like Steph Curry, this year or next year will make $54 million in 1 year, and the following year will make $55 million a year. Well, if you take that money, take $10 million of each of those, $20 million. you could supplement everybody in the WNBA.
Well, sure.
Income. The reason I brought that up, not to continue on with Caitlin Clark, was Home by a man named Kakarakan. And it's called Fight Like a Girl.
Okay.
It's titled, You Fight Like a Girl. Men seem all confident, strong, and macho and whatnot, but the moment this phrase strikes their ears, they all get offended, turn into crybabies, and start defending their so-called manhood. I've seen this with my own eyes, and I seriously can't remember how many times. It's funny how society has turned women into synonym for weak, when the same women's strength to push them out of their bodies is their great gateway to life. And it's funnier how they think they are superior just because of that little thing between their legs. And it's the same men who can't find their own socks without their wife. It's funny how men who worship their mothers often forget to respect the girls who walk down the alley. And it's funnier how it's the woman who leaves her family, but it has to live like she owes her life to the man she marries. It's funny how to be a mother carries her baby for 9 months, building a life out of matter, but the moment it comes out of the womb, it's given the name of just a father. It's more funny how we talk about getting rid of gender roles, yet look at a woman with disgrace when you find out she doesn't cook. And the funniest of all is how we blabber about these civilizations and equality tricks and blame women for dressing too inappropriate, but forget to tell the men to calm their hormones. And yet a woman stands there strong, fighting through all these odds, as if being born a female was her biggest mistake of all. And still, the most insulting phrase men find to throw at each other's is, dude, you fight like a girl. And this is my only message to all those macho men who use that golden phrase, maybe thinking it makes them sound manlier somehow. If you really fought like a girl, trust me, brah, you'd be dead by now. Fight like a girl, yes I do. And if you dare be that strong, you would be too. It's Karakan. Times are changing. You know.
I remember when Deb and I came to Jesup, and we'd only been married a few months. And so we come to Jesup, so we go to City Hall to sign up for city water. And they look, say, okay, and they look at me and say, okay, what is your name? And so it's my name. Yes. Go sign up for the newspaper. Get the Citizen Herald. Okay. My name. Mm-hmm. And it was the same at the post office, and it was the same everywhere we went. You have to kind of check in to get the services, the power, everything was always, they wanted to know who I was. They never asked her once what her name was. And she didn't like it very much either. So, yeah. So, very interesting how, hopefully times have changed about that.
Oh,
but,
you bet.
It was just, I'm stupid. I don't know. Go along. That's the way it's always been. But it was funny. So it's funny now, wasn't it then?
Oh, yeah. What do you have, Dale, for library news?
Okay, we have Little Tot Story Time. Meets every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. for songs, stories, and more. And so if you have a child that's a little tot, that'd be a good place to go and get kids interested in going to the library. The April Spice is lemon verbena.
You didn't have it.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
They have samples of this and recipes to try also at the public library. They also have a limited supply of past spices available if you want to go in and ask for them or look and see what they have and see if there's something. This verbena looks like a little ground up leaves is what it is. Yeah, it's just really different. So, Adventure Pass program. Did you know your library card can get you into area attractions for free? Through our Adventure Pass program, Jesup library card holders who are 18 years and older can borrow passes to the Blank Park Zoo, the Grout Museum District, and the Quad Cities Fun Bundle. That's the Putnam Museum, the Botanical Center, and Niabe Zoo. You look at the library's website, you can find out about the Adventure Pass program. So that'd be neat. I didn't realize that's new, isn't it?
That is new.
Yeah. Okay. That's why we should read it every week, because there's always new stuff happening. Exercise with your friends every Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning at 8 a.m. in the library community room, low-impact video-led workouts. They try to do a new and different video every day, lasting about 45 to 60 minutes. They're beginner-friendly workouts, and you can do them seated or standing, and they're always looking for new people. Movie Monday, April 22nd, that's today. Mm-hmm. The Boys in the Boat, a 1930 set story centered on the University of Washington's rowing team, from their Depression-era beginnings to winning gold at the 36 Berlin Olympics. And admission and popcorn always free. It's a PG-13, 2 hours and 4 minutes. A lot of interest in the Olympics. Of course, the Today Show is doing a lot because it's on NBC, but it's really starting to ramp up. And Today's Show set, they've got a Paris street outside. They got a little Eiffel Tower, and they're going all out. So STEM Wednesday. In partnership with Buchanan County ISU Extension and Outreach, we invite you to join us following early dismissal on Wednesday, May the 1st at 1:30 for activities, fun, and snacks as we explore dirt and worms. Most suitable for grades K through 4. Pre-registration is required. Okay. You ever eat a worm? Or earthworm or regular?
No, I've never eaten one.
There's a late Sandra at Fontana. She's a naturalist, and had a kid in a group that she was teaching, and she took the dirt off and swallowed that worm. So. Good protein, I guess, but books and brews. Anyway, dirt and worm, very important. You know that.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why you got to watch putting all those poisons on your lawn and everything. Books and Brews Book Club. You like books, you like beer. Question marks instead of just statements. Join us for our Books and Brews Book Club. We talk about books and drink beer the second Monday of every month at Allerton Brewing Company in Independence. Our next Books and Brews meeting will be on Monday, May 13 at 6:30. We will discuss The Lost Ticket by Freya Sampson. And they have a copy of that book at the Jesup Public Library, and they meet at the Allerton. Excuse me. The Chapter Chat Book Club is the May book. The May book is The Boys by Ron Howard and Clint Howard, and that's available to pick up at the library. And so I didn't realize they'd written a book, but have you heard of that?
No.
Okay, it's by Ron Howard, and interesting, when he became a director, if you look, his little brother is in every one of those movies, one way or the other. And
he was on a lot of the Andy Griffith shows.
Yeah. I don't know if you're interested in Andy Griffith. I have a book about Andy Griffith and Barney, and that show is really very interesting. And the one thing is, like Ron Howard was a little kid, and they did everything they could to make him have a halfway normal childhood, and they would even film at night so that he could play Little League ball in the afternoon. So, baseball. So I thought, that was really neat. So,
yeah.
You can support the public library. They have Velvet Coffee Company Bookworm Blend coffee available in whole bean or ground, 1.5 ounces or 12-ounce bags. And you can order a 30-ounce Polar Camel water bottle with a QR code at the front desk. Vinyl public library stickers are on sale in 2 styles for only $2 each. They have bookmarks with a public library logo made locally at Sacrifice. Are available $3.50. You ever seen one of those? Or I have to look at that. I didn't. All of these support the Friends of the Jesup Public Library. They have cake pans, cookie cutters, that sort of thing. If you want to do like a little theme party for your kid for birthday or something, go and look, because they have all kinds of things there. They have the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program. It's designed to be simple and encourage making reading a daily habit. You can sign up at the library to receive a log to record your child's first 100 books, or use the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten app, which is available in your app store or on iTunes. And children who enroll will get a prize for every 100 books they read. And extras for checkout. They have a lot more than just books. They have cool things to offer in the Library of Things. Spark your child's curiosity with a fun and educational STEM bag, or unleash your inner artist with a quilling kit or wood-burning tool. Looking for some outdoor fun? Borrow a disc golf set, spike ball set, or even a telescope to explore the night sky. This is just a sample of the many items available. Find board games, puzzles, and more at the Jesup Public Library. And I went by the splash pad the other day. Looked like that's up and going to be ready to go. And then they have the disc golf over at Parker Muncie Park. They have those things up for that. And so all these things can be used right here locally. So that's the public library news.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Don't forget, some of our other sponsors include Even Events and Rentals LLC, Thomas James LLC, Boyd's Food Truck, as Dale talked about earlier, Mickey D's Pizza and Lobster.
Yeah.
They're sponsoring Farmers Day and helping with the park downtown.
Yeah, Veterans Park.
And they are also going to be out at Littleton Free Watermelon Day and helping. Their proceeds are going to help the Steve Brown Arts Center.
That's one of July 27th, right?
July 27th.
Yeah,
yes.
very good.
Dream Chaser Acres, Bobby Leach and Farm Bureau Financial Services. They provide our insurance for the Steve Brown Arts Center. M&M Bakery in Lawrence, Kansas. They are supporting our photographer and Innovative Wealth Management, and also Cowork 591, who sponsors our studio here every week. Thanks to them.
I don't know if you did get out to the Littleton Museum Pancake. They had Karma Doll's caricatures out there. Really fantastic. She is very, very good.
She's remarkable. So, the genre is called new media caricature.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
What that genre is called.
Okay. Is she going to be showing those anywhere else here soon? Or
they are hanging right now in M's Coffee and Independence.
Okay. Go and look at them. They look really good.
M's Coffee is kind enough, and that's a new sponsor of ours. M's Coffee is kind enough to hang that for a couple weeks. And they are always so kind. We have the Steve Brown Arts Center has a lot of our meetings.
Oh, okay.
So thank you for bringing that up, Dale.
Yeah.
And thanks to Karma. Karma did a picture of Dale and I.
I look really good in that.
You do,
yeah.
You do. I'll see if our producer can't get that on this week's show.
Okay. I just sent it to my kids. I took a picture of it and sent it to them.
Good.
So they also thought I looked really good.
Yeah. Your children are wonderful people. They're terrible liars, but they're wonderful people. The people have asked me to set up a poetry event, and I've done a terrible job of that, Dale. I think we could do something some night, either at Gedney's over there in Independence. Gedney's, the new bakery.
Oh, okay.
Or in the Sanity Room.
Yeah. You're looking for people to read published poetry or just original stuff, or what are you thinking?
Well, either or, either published poetry or their own poetry.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to look at that event. I don't know how many people we could get. I would have to talk to, I think if I talk to Carrie Wall, or I can't remember her married name now. She sponsors, or she's the coach for speech up at school. I think she could get us students up there and things like that. Them Independence speech team, I think we could get them and a few adults as well. But we're looking into that. But earlier I read a poem, Fight Like a Girl, and I have another poem. It was a poem that turned into a song called Wannabe. It's not the famous Taylor Swift song Wannabe. That is a hit. It's not the same Wannabe.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of Tony
Bennett?
Tony Bennett.
Yeah.
I want to be around to pick up the pieces.
Yeah,
when somebody breaks your heart.
There are 2 or 3 songs out there called Wannabe. If you go online and look up Taylor Kingman for Wannabe, he turned this into a song. But here's the poem. I want to be strong. This time I proved I was right. Or that time I proved I was right, I was wrong. That time we talked all night, man, I was drunk. Last time I came, babe, I was gone. I want to be strong. I want to be kind. I want to be all open windows and warm apple pie. I want to be slowly blowing breezes in the sweet by and by. I want to be arms open wide and baby, it's all right. I want to be kind. I want to be wise. I've sat stoned until sunrise, and I bet I looked divine. Coward with conviction, and I bet I looked wild and sly. Talked too long, too loud, and I bet I looked proud and right. But I want to be wise. I want to be clear. I want to wear out my wandering, and I want to be here. I want to sober up and let sleep be the vintage of my ears. And I want to wake in my walking through the valley of voyeurs and mirrors. I want to be clear. I want to be true. The blossoms of love are blighted with fears in the roots. And that moment was honest, untouched by the next moment's truth. And I'm sorry for all I've taken, and I'm sorry for all I've let loose. I want to be true. I want to be forgiven for giving up on everything I knew. I want to be true. This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network, and I'm Jim Gillespie with co-host Dale Rueber and producer Blake Tempus. Dale, do you have anything else for us here?
No, I don't believe so.
I'm gonna talk about something here. You talked earlier about the Paris Olympics. The Paris Olympics are coming. I actually thought about going, and it is. I still struggle to get in those tin cans and sit in the tin can for longer than 2 hours.
Yeah.
The under 18 championships this year are down in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
I could go to that.
Yeah.
But they're in August this year.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see if I have the courage to go to that. But I did want to talk about, we spoke earlier, you talked about former Iowa State player Halliburton was selected to the Olympic team.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to talk about the Olympic team and compare them to the great Dream Team.
Okay.
Dale, I've got to tell you, as a former basketball coach, I'm a little disappointed with basketball, with professional basketball. If you look at the winners of the most valuable player the last 3-4 years in a league, they are foreign-made players. Mm-hmm. They are foreign players.
Yeah.
They're no longer U.S. players that are winning the MVP.
Yeah.
We are starting to fail basketball in 2023, the FIBA championships. The USA didn't win a medal, and we stumbled. And it is for a number of reasons I'm going to talk about here. But let's look at this year's team and the first great Dream Team. If you remember the first great Dream Team, can you remember them, Dale?
Yes, I
1992 was the Olympic.
Was it? Was that like Larry Bird and Jordan and Magic Johnson and those guys?
Larry Bird, Jordan, Magic Johnson.
Yeah. Who's that guy?
That's all right.
I'm sorry.
David Robinson.
Okay.
Patrick Ewing.
Who's that?
Patrick Ewing.
Okay.
Scottie Pippen.
Oh, Christian Laettner was on that team, wasn't he?
We will talk about Laettner here in a minute. Don't forget him.
Okay.
You're right. Laettner was on that team, the only college player. He was the Caitlin Clark of the time period. Mm-hmm. Clyde Drexler.
Okay,
7.
Clyde the Dry. Or what?
Yeah.
Clyde the Glide.
Clyde the Glide.
Yeah.
Beat Iowa in the Final Four. The Karl Malone is 8. John Stockton 9.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Mullin 10. Charles Barkley 11. A man they left off for bad feelings was Isaiah Thomas, the great guard from
played from
Detroit.
Cincinnati and played for Detroit.
Played for Indiana. Played for Bobby Knight.
Okay.
In college, then he played for Detroit.
Okay.
And they played.
Oscar Robinson played for Cincinnati.
Yeah. Oscar Robinson.
Right.
Did.
And who are we talking about?
Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, he played for Indiana, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the Dream Team. Laettner. See, that was the first time the U.S. sent professionals to.
Yeah, I remember that.
Play for in the FIBA championships, and so there was an argument among the colleges and the professional teams. They wanted the pros didn't want any college kids on the team, and the colleges didn't want any pros on the team, and so the pros, the Olympic Committee from the United States wanted to win the medal back, and so they brought They brought in the Dream Team. The deal was they had to bring one college guy, and it was Leitner, and the pros frowned on Leitner. They didn't like Leitner, and they didn't hide that.
There was a lot not to like about him, if I remember.
He was a unique man from Duke. But
everybody hated Duke in those days.
They did. Of those 12 guys on that Dream Team, 11 are in the Hall of Fame. Leitner is the coaches were Chuck Daly, the Detroit Piston coach. He didn't take his own. Yeah. He didn't take his own player.
No.
PJ Carlissimo, Mike Krzyzewski from Duke, and Lenny Wilkin. And of those 4 coaches, all of them are in the NBA Hall of Fame except for PJ Carlissimo. So just an incredible group, and they won every game. They won by an average of 40 points. The high score for that group was Charles Barkley. He averaged 18 points a game and they averaged over 100 points a game. They had Angola the first round and had a 42-1 run against them. There was one Olympic game where a player was guarding Michael Jordan, and the guy guarding him held his hand up and waved at the bench, and one of the other players took a picture of him guarding Michael Jordan. That was how big an impact the Dream Team had on the Olympics.
Yeah.
This year's team is finalized for the Paris Olympics, and the roster includes LeBron James from the Lakers, Steph Curry from the Warriors, Kevin Durant from the Suns, and Joel Embiid from the Sixers. There's 4. Those are the big money players, the famous players. Problem is that LeBron will be 40 this summer, I believe.
Yeah.
Then the team managing director is Grant Hill, former Duke player. He's keeping one slot open ahead of the July training camp and exhibition games in Las Vegas. U.S. basketball. If you look at the Olympic Training Center is in Colorado Springs, but the FIBA basketball training center is in Colorado. For the professional, not Colorado, in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, okay.
In Las Vegas, thank you. The other team, so I named those 4, and the other teammates include Anthony Davis from the Lakers is 5, Suns guard Devin Booker is 6, Minnesota guard Anthony Edwards is 7, Boston forward Jason Tatum is 8, Boston guard Drew Holiday is 9, Miami center Bam Adebayo 10, and Indiana guard Tyrese Halliburton is 11. So the 12th person will be named. The coach is Steve Kerr, and he will be coaching Kerr. He'll also be united with Durant. But here's the issue, Dale, that I have is we're sending our kids on the weekends to play 16 AAU games in a weekend. Instead of working on skills.
Yeah.
You go back and I've had this argument with other coaches. AAU does for us what I don't have to do. One of the things that drove me away from basketball was I spent 10 years every weekend in the summer with our team. I liked it, or I wouldn't have done it for 10 years.
Yeah.
But we did it as a team. It wasn't a travel team. It wasn't an all-star team. Dale Rueber didn't play with somebody from Independence and Vinton and Cedar Rapids and Des Moines. Caitlin Clark played with a girl from Minnesota and a girl from Illinois. And it is. I understand. It's wonderful. How does that develop? First off, how does that develop your own team? how does that develop your skills? You know, now the argument is, well, the skills will come. The problem is, how do you get somebody from Illinois and Minnesota and Iowa together every night to practice? Mm-hmm. And so the AAU has hurt our America's basket. Now you've got LeBron at 40, you got Steph Curry at, will be 36 at the end of his contract here in 2 years. You've got two guys, Halliburton and Edwards were on last year's team that played at the FIBA World Championships and didn't win a medal. We've got to change. No longer are we playing Angola. Angola's gotten better and Croatia's gotten better. We beat Croatia. Croatia played us the closest back in '92, and we beat them by 40. Mm-hmm. Kruko was on that team for the Bulls, and Pippen and Jordan went out of their way to embarrass him, to show how much better they were. Mm-hmm. But no longer are we that far ahead of Croatia and Serbia and France and the Puerto Rico and that group. So we'll see in the next Olympics how coming up in May, I believe it is, and I don't have in May we have a welcome the summer. What is that? May 24th. Welcome the summer is at the Buchanan County Tourism Center from 4 to 6. Carter Rout is playing the piano. Yep. We have Gibby's food truck there.
And Carter's graduating this year.
Carter is graduating this year.
Saw his graduation announcement.
So that's our next event. Thanks to Karma Doll and Tony Bankston for showing Karma's work out at the Littleton Chatham Historical Society. Thanks to the people that support our art center. And please, please, please go out and listen to live music. Chet Reagan is at the Sanity Room, or he was at the Sanity Room this past weekend.
Oh, was he really?
Okay. Yes, he was. If you'd like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center or have an idea for an event, go to the SteveBrownArtsCenter.org and follow the link. If you have news or would like to sponsor us, email us at Jim@SteveBrownArtsCenter.org or call 319-290-0241 and leave a message. I'm Jim Gillespie with Dale Rueber and producer Blake Tempus. Thanks as always to Kelly C. Haas for what you do here at Cowork 591. Thanks to the audience for bringing these stray dogs into your day, and remember, each day is about little victories.